Welcome to Criterion Corner with your host, Scotty V. Today we're going to talk about Solaris, directed by Andrei Tarkovsky. And this quickly became one of my favorite movies ever. Actually, the remake, I don't know if they meant it to be a remake or just another adaptation of the novel, but with George Clooney, that remake in like 2002, I want to say. Um, it was actually really beautiful, and I like the ambiguity of it, and just kind of abstract and surreal, and I really loved the mood it gave off. So that's actually one of my favorite films is the newer Solaris, but then I saw this version from 1972, and God, just immediately, right out of the gate, the first thing I noticed is the sound. Like obviously the picture's beautiful with these plants waving in the water, and it's beautiful to look at. Excellent cinematography, but the thing that really captures me in this movie is the sound. It's the sound design is absolutely phenomenal, and so watch it with good sound. I watched it with headphones on, and I really caught all the intricate sounds. Like movies from back then, a lot of times they would leave a lot of like really important sounds out that they didn't see them as important. They saw them as this is the sound we need to emphasize. But in this movie, you could hear like the individual sounds you really would in this environment, and it goes out of its way to create this world. And you hear it immediately with all the bugs, the animals, the wind. You just hear everything in this woodsy area he's in, out in the country. And then it had moments where you're like, why is this movie so long? The movie is like 3 hours, so make sure you have some time, or you can do it in multiple sittings like I had to do. I always recommend watching a movie in one sitting, but I'm an adult now. I can't always do that, especially with a 3 hour movie. But wow, it just it had this scene with this pilot. He had gotten older now, but he went through a traumatic experience on this alien planet, and he was trying to get this doctor to look into it. The lead character is I believe he's a psychologist, but he wants him to look into this planet, and he goes off. The meeting doesn't go well, and he drives off with this child in the car, and the scene of him driving into the city lasts a very long time, and I was like, wow, they could have cut this down. This movie doesn't have to be 3 hours, but it really did, because it took about that long for me to realize I was being enveloped by the sound. The city was taking me over, and because it gets very, very loud and chaotic, and not even like you can hear the cars and everything, but just this chaotic noise, and it took me about that long to really get it. And then all of a sudden, right when you're like, oh my god, this is so loud, boom, it cuts to silence with the sounds, faint sounds of the quiet foresty area in the country, where the main character is. And it's so serene and beautiful, and it finally gives you a break, and then you're like, wow. But it's this peaceful setting on Earth. It's where you're like, mankind has lost itself in the city, but here in the outdoors, you can really get a sense of finding peace and living life. And then he goes to the space station, and the production design, the set design, it's all very beautiful. I really like how the ship looks. Sometimes it looks almost like they didn't finish because it looks used, but it almost it has things that are slightly off kilter that make you feel like something's off. And all of a sudden he starts to see this woman from his past, and you get the sense that it's a lot more solid footing than the Soderbergh version. Um, his is a little bit more ambiguous and like stylistic, and with the Tarkovsky version, it's a lot. You get a lot more of the sense of what is going on. Like it's a lot more solid with the story and the plot. You really sense that there are these that the planet has a consciousness, and it is tapping into the human consciousness and playing off of what their dreams and their thoughts are, and so it creates a figure from their mind, and it really has a mind of its own, this new creature that's a part of the planet, and it really explores the philosophy and what it means to be human, and that these humans differ from each other, but she's like, no, you're all human, you're just all different. um, but it's just such a beautiful movie, and it's become one of my favorites that I've seen on the channel, and one of my favorite movies in general with the other Solaris. So I like the themes they explore, I think, in both movies, and they did it in a very different way. I honestly think it's been a long time since I've seen the newer version, so I don't remember the ending. I remember it being very, very ambiguous, like he becomes a part of the planet or like floats into it. I'm not sure, but spoiler alert for the Tarkovsky version, um, it does end with him like staying on the planet, and I love the ending. That he wants to be a part of that, and that he thinks life there would be better than life on Earth. I also thought it was beautiful that when he gets really sick and has a fever at one point, after they basically they project his thoughts into the planet, to try and stop it from sending beings and stop it from invading their minds. They actually beam his mind into the planet through these waves, and it actually stops them from coming, but it creates a fever, and really, I think my interpretation was that he kind of, by sending his thoughts out, he's really combined himself with the planet. He's become connected to it in a way he can't shake, because then things start forming from his memory. It basically creates a version of Earth from his passion, his hopes, his dreams, the way he wants to live. It creates it from that. But he has this vision when he's in this fever dream, and it's just kind of beautiful that he was finding love from his past that was incomplete, that he lost to grief, and he found that in his wife, romantic love. But at the end of the movie, he finds the love for his mother, and he goes to that, like, when he's faced with mortality, and it speaks on mortality and immortality, and when he's faced with his own mortality and things ending, and how he's going to go home to die on Earth and won't find passion anymore because he's reached his peak, he seeks out the love and comfort of a mother, and his arm, she wipes his arm and cleans him off and takes care of him, and he just seeks solace in that, the arms of his mother. So and a dog as well. It explores different kinds of love besides romantic love, and I really liked. Like, to me, it speaks to that philosophy that the comfort we're trying to seek from the planet is actually us crawling back into the womb. The only time we were really at peace was before we were born. So it's almost like death in a way. We're crawling back into the womb of death, and and at the end he seeks that womb in that false world he has created from his own mind. And it's just, you have to watch it, see it in context. I hope I haven't spoiled it too much for you, but it's just such a beautiful film, and I definitely recommend it. Go get the Criterion channel if you don't already have it, and watch this movie. It's been on there for a long time. It might be there permanently, or at least for a while. So go check out Solaris on Criterion channel. That's it for a Criterion Corner. Join us next week on Wednesdays.